Heather's mammoth-sized appetite is about to be curbed by taking on her partner's minuscule meals. Step forward, aspiring glamour model Charlotte. Super skinny Charlotte is obsessed with her looks, to the complete detriment of her diet.
Food's just not that important to me. I'd rather think about my nails or my tan.
But despite wanting the body of a woman, her diet is that of a child.
When I look down on the plate, I know that there's not enough there. I think it is quite embarrassing.
These two young women are destroying their bodies with extreme diets at opposite ends of the scale. And with nearly 14 stone difference between them, the signs are obvious. Heather's thigh is almost 6 inches bigger than Charlotte's waist. They're about to swap diets for 5 days. It's time for Supersize to meet Super Skinny.
God, I'm frightened. I've never seen anybody so skinny. That's going to change, definitely.
I had no fat to pinch, and she could just grab it like a whole handful and say, like, which bit do you want?
It's quite scary to look at somebody so tiny, and I'm just dreading exactly what it is she eats to stay so small. I'm really frightened.
Wait no longer, ladies. It's time for them to come face to face with their own shocking weekly food intake.
Charlotte, we're going to start with you. Cereal to start with. Toast. Let's see what you have for lunch.
Usually just have one biscuit with a cup of tea.
Let's have a look at your dinners. That's the first lot of veg we've had in the tube.
No.
That is your week's worth of dinner and your week's worth of lunch and your week's worth of breakfast in there.
But it's just really not enough to get you through the day, is it?
I'm beginning to panic at how my body is going to survive on that small amount of food.
Heather, let's start with your breakfast. That looks like a traditional English fry-up breakfast. Wow, like a French baguette, and that's a breakfast thing. Charlotte, that is 30 sausage rolls. And this is fizzy cola, so it's high sugar, high in calorie, just not really quite what you need given the size of your lunches and the size of your dinners.
Heather is gorging on 5 times more calories than Charlotte. By taking in a mammoth 4,100 a day, she's eating twice as much as she needs to. It's an overeat of 7 days a week. It's the first morning of the diet swap, and Heather's taking Charlotte out for one of her favourite gut busters, a full English breakfast.
The thought of it just makes me feel really full up already.
I wish I could feel full up by the thought of food.
So what will Heather think of this pitiful portion? 1 slice of toast, a banana and a probiotic yoghurt.
Are you going to eat your banana yet?
Not yet, no, I'm absolutely starving. I'm trying to make it last. I think looking at how much it is that I'm struggling to eat made me realise how much I really do go through.
Under the guidance of eating specialist Dr. Peter Rowan and dietitian Ursula Philpott, we've been following 4 ordinary women struggling to wrestle back their lives from the grip of anorexia. After looking at their attitudes towards food, we've turned our attention to how they view their own bodies. Approximately 80% of anorexia sufferers engage in compulsive exercise.
My relationship with exercise is absolutely obsessive. I don't go a day without exercising. My exercise, in a way, was worse than my relationship with food.
It's important for the girls to exercise in a safe and healthy way.
The reason I've asked the girls to come today and do a yoga class is because it's a really good activity for somebody with an eating disorder. It's skills-based rather than being goal-orientated, so you're not counting calories all the time they're working on a skill. It's time-limited. There's a definite start and a finish time, so people can't just keep going and going. It's fun and it's sociable and it's quite low impact, so it's actually good for bones as well.
See if you can inhale your fingertips towards the ceiling.
I've kind of felt that exercise has been something that you've had to always go full pelt at. So now seeing it on this more calmer, soothing level was something that took a bit of adjusting to, but I feel more refreshed now, so it's a lot better.
The yoga session has calmed the girls' minds in terms of exercise, but next they'll have to confront their body image as they head to a spa for a back massage. Anorexia sufferers often hide their bodies away under layers of baggy clothing and avoid close physical contact, so today will be a giant step. Anorexia leaves sufferers so used to punishing their body, they completely forget how to indulge it.
Pampering is something that I never, ever do for myself at all.
For Fiona, who holds down 3 jobs and several sporting activities, the idea of self-indulgence is a revelation.
I've never really thought to myself that I will treat myself and have a massage or go and have a facial. Hopefully I will come away having learned that it is okay for me to pamper myself.
Elaine, who has lived with anorexia for 17 years, is not happy to let her mask slip entirely.
Even though I'm at a health spa, I chose not to take my makeup off and sort of lay myself completely bare. I tend to kind of keep away from getting intimate with people. It's very strange to have somebody touch my body. It does feel really nice.
The spa day has been tough for the girls, but it's also been rewarding and a crucial step towards recovery. Later, we reveal how far they've come with a farewell meal together.
Supersized 22-year-old Heather and Superskinny 19-year-old Charlotte are 2 young women who have agreed to swap their polar extreme eating habits. It's day 2 of the diet swap, and lunch for Charlotte is a baguette bulging with tuna mayo, while for Heather, well, it really does take the biscuit.
When I first saw what my lunch was, I wanted to slap her for eating such a ridiculous lunch. Without swearing, bleeping hungry.
Seems like the solitary biscuit is going to do nothing to placate Heather's hunger.
Come dinner time, I'm going to be ready to rip her arm off and eat whatever meat's on there.
Instead of Charlotte's arm, Heather will be chomping on 2 small lamb chops, 2 potatoes and veg. But she'd rather have a bowl of
chocolate-covered rice cereals.
Drowned in full-fat milk, and in case Charlotte isn't sweet enough, there's tons of sugar on top. Heather must stick to Charlotte's habit of leaving a large chunk of her dinner, leaving her chomping at the bit.
See if there's any more left on this.
Breakfast, and it's the same story. While Charlotte gets to chow down on another bumper-sized baguette, working mother Heather is faced with a Spartan slice of toast. The slim pickings have finally pushed her over the edge.
I actually feel sick because I'm that hungry. I feel like just screaming and shouting and pulling my hair out at the minute because I'm just angry at everything. And I hate feeling that. It's just horrible.
Heather is experiencing the feeling of true hunger for the first time in her life, and she's finding the emotional effects hard to deal with. So she needs a boost to keep her motivated and to keep her heading in the right direction.
So to boost Heather's meagre breakfast, Dr. Christian's adding a side order of surprise.
Here we are. Come on in, come on, come on.
I think this is a golden opportunity for you. I'm really concerned about your health. I'm also concerned about Madison's health. I love you so much, and I'm frightened I'm going to lose you, and Maddie won't have a mum.
When Heather was younger, what sort of things did she eat?
Unfortunately, the wrong things. I too was a working mum. We had all the things like fish fingers and the chips, and we had the deep fat fryer. Don't want that for Madison.
I think your mother's done something quite incredible today to be able to come forward and say, OK, I may not have fed you the right stuff, but don't you make the same mistake. I think that's amazing.
It was such a shock. I never expected my mum and Maddie to turn up. Now I'm in the right frame of mind that I want to do this, then I will be taking on board what she said.
With the day's events weighing heavily on Heather, there's one final meal in the feeding clinic, and it's a proper dinner. Charlotte, on the other hand, is faced with the last supper of 30 sausage rolls. Not exactly a healthy, balanced meal.
Let's get going.
Despite its tiny size, Heather's dinner is a different story, with complex carbohydrates in the mashed potato, protein in the minced beef, and essential vitamins and minerals in the fresh vegetables. As the end of the swap nears, Heather realises just how extreme her food habits were.
Goes through everything that's going on. It's made me realise what it is that I'm doing to not only me, but Maddie as well.
It's the end of the swap. time for Dr. Christian to give Heather and Charlotte their 12-week healthy eating plans.
So everything that you need now for your diet plans are all in here, and I have to say I'm really looking forward to seeing you two in 12 weeks' time.
Me, Maddie and Richard will certainly be changing our eating habits, and there's going to be a lot more home-cooked food. It's like a weight's being lifted knowing that I'm going to go home and she's not going to be like me.